Inman Park is one of Atlanta's most historic areas. Built at the turn of the century, near the site of the Battle of Atlanta, it became the home of some of the city's most famous citizens, the Candlers, the Woodruffs, the Hurts. During the 50s and 60s, the area gradually became a slum, and few cared as hundreds of homes were demolished in the very center of the community. Within 1 block of the historic Candler Mansion is the scar of I-485, the now defunct North-South Road. Much has happened since that time. Inman Park is now recognized as an asset to the state of Georgia and the nation. Much restoration and renovation work has taken place, producing a thriving in-town community. With the help of the city of Atlanta, the neighborhood has even restored the historic trolley barn, which housed the first electric railway in the city. Inman Park has become known as a neighborhood of urban pioneers, where people took a chance, an opportunity to transform decay into life, and succeeded. But there still exists an impediment to this ongoing effort. The land originally cleared for I-485 cuts a swath through the neighborhood and sits neglected. For 20 years now, it has been unproductive and poorly maintained. People now use this land only as a shortcut to Little Five Points and the Inman Park MARTA station. In March 1987, this situation produced a crime that was indelibly stamped in the conscience of the neighborhood.
Atlanta police say 5 men apparently watched and selected their victim from among the passengers who got off the train at the Inman Park MARTA station Wednesday night. An 18-year-old female stopped to make a phone call. After the woman finished her conversation and began to walk away, the men approached her and forced her to walk to the field beyond the MARTA parking lot. There she was raped and robbed of $30. Afterward, she collected herself and ran to a nearby street for help. She was taken to Grady Hospital for treatment. Detectives hope they'll be able to draw composite sketches of her attackers from an extensive interview. At about the same time of the incident, a MARTA patrolman spotted 3 young men hanging around. When the patrolman returned from escorting another woman to her car, the 3 teens had disappeared. Inman Park residents say the open field is a haven for criminals, a situation they've been trying to change.
There's no lighting there. It's not accessible by street, and as a result, if people cut through there after dark, they really become ready targets.
We've made every concerted effort on our part to put a physical presence in this particular area. Unfortunately, the area we're talking about is so wide-reaching that it is virtually inaccessible to a patrol car.
Patrolman Mark Woke says several arrests have been made in the same area. Last month, he ran after and caught one armed robbery suspect who laid down in the grass trying to hide. The State Department of Transportation owns the land. Ruth Wall is one of the homeowners who has been trying to get housing developed here.
We've all approved it, and that's what it's designated to be. And if we could have that done, then it would stop the crimes in the area, because it would be housing there instead of tall grass that people can hide behind.
But the housing proposal is part of Mayor Young's plan for the Presidential Parkway, which would run near the area. Until the road matter is settled, the DOT will not swap the land adjacent to the MARTA lot for the city to develop. The Inman Park homeowners say in the meantime, keeping the field from becoming overgrown could better their chances of keeping the area safe. I'm Morse Diggs, TV5 Eyewitness News.
Despite the warnings of police and neighborhood residents, many people continue to use the vacant land as a shortcut to and from the Inman Park MARTA station. Many predicted that more trouble would follow. In January 1988, that prediction came true.
They crowded into a church hall, about 100 people who live in one of Atlanta's oldest neighborhoods. They called actions by the State Department of Transportation deplorable. They were responding to the murders last night of 2 men. The victims were apparently shot in a robbery. It happened along a pathway on property near the Inman Park MARTA station. Community leaders say the vacant parcel of land owned by the Transportation Department has long been a hotbed of crime. In a planned land swap, the property is to go to the city of Atlanta for housing development, but the deal has been held up.
I don't know how much worse you can get than murder. It's a frightening thing to have happen in your own neighborhood. If you add that to rapes, robberies, muggings, and all other types of violent acts, you get to a point where you just wonder how much is enough.
The state is refusing to act, saying the land swap is supposed to be part of the Presidential Parkway project, which has been blocked by opposition in neighborhoods such as Inman Park.
We have tried to proceed, with the project on the basis of a cooperative arrangement between us and the City of Atlanta. That cooperation has not been there.
Residents and city officials emphasize that the land is not planned for any use in the Parkway project. Public safety, they say, is being held hostage to politics.
And I'm hopeful that we're able to work up some meaningful solution very quickly so that we don't have another serious tragedy that occurs.
The city says early next week it will provide a plan to the state for lighting the area, but the Transportation Department is not making a commitment to a response. Paul Yates, TV5 Eyewitness News.
Inman Park is now a neighborhood of fear and shock. Many of our children are afraid to play outdoors alone. Some residents have even talked of moving away. Others speak of action, but are frustrated when appeals seemingly fall upon deaf ears.
I'd like to see good people with raised consciousness live here. If there's anybody that can do that, yes, come and live here, because I don't ever want this to happen again.
The people of Inman Park fought for their right to live in the midst of a city where most leave in the evening and drive home to suburbs. We are happy to be counted among those who chose to stay, but we are less willing to brag on our neighborhood these days, more fearful, more cautious. We wait for what will happen next in the great park.